Hello everybody, my name is Aguilar reporting for CoinDesk from the city of Buenos Aires in Argentina. Today we are sharing the office of Bitex with its co-founder Manuel Beaudroit. How are you, Manuel?
Very well, thanks for coming by.
Let's start with the good news, because you guys recently were part of a very interesting story with an alliance that could make over 60 banks to accept Bitcoin. Tell us about that.
Well, we signed a deal with Bank Total, which is a core banking technology company for Latin America. They serve 60 banks in the region, and basically they decide to choose Bitex to connect to their clients and allow them to start providing cross-border payments over Bitcoin blockchain as an alternative to SWIFT. Okay, so the idea here is to bring to their customers, or the banks and their customers, an alternative, because today you don't have an alternative to SWIFT. It's either with SWIFT or you go another provider but the bank. And here what we can do is start dropping fees, dropping time for transfers. So we don't foresee maybe that Bitex is going to be in the front page or on the front
in the title?
I mean in the interface of the bank, maybe. But I'm sure that they will be doing some kind of announcement of, hey, we're starting to use Bitex technology for doing cross-border payments. The good thing is that once you start with the integration with us, through our API, you can start to use cross-border payments. You can start to use buy and sell Bitcoin, cold storage. So there's a stack of solutions that we offer, and which are an API away.
You were talking about banks being fans of using big words before, such as saying, "Oh, we're already using blockchain," and well, perhaps Bitcoin, because we know that banks are not so eager to say that little word as much as blockchain. So you would say Bitex is aspiring to be like the invisible man behind it all?
Yeah, I think part of the mission of Bitex is to provide infrastructure over the Bitcoin blockchain. For us, we don't talk about any other blockchain but Bitcoin, and we make ourselves pretty serious about that with all the banks that we talk with, because you can either have your own closed private blockchain, which is useful only for you, or you can connect to the biggest value network in the world. And there is a lot of work that can be done in that technology, and you can take advantage and depend on the security and robustness of that piece of technology, which is Bitcoin. So we kind of do a lot of I don't like to say evangelization, but trying to push the fact that Bitcoin is one of the only, if not the only, blockchain technology which is worth spending some money on, and they kind of get it, And the thing is that it was funny because last year we connected the first bank globally to the Bitcoin blockchain to do cross-border payments. It was a small bank called Banco Más Ventas. These guys operate on a monthly basis. For their customers, they dropped 500%, 400% the cost of the fees.
That was your first alliance with the bank, right?
Yeah, exactly. Worldwide. And once one bank decided to, hey, let's use Bitcoin, suddenly there were a lot of banks looking to do the same. And we figured out that if we can solve one of the main issues that banks have in general, which is technology, we can get much faster. That's why we want to start talking with core banking technology companies, which basically provide all the stack of technology for banks. If we can have that thing solved, things are going to go faster, and it's happening.
Okay, so instead of talking to the banks, let's talk with their software providers.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly.
Oh, you got them there.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about Bitex Exchange. Okay, so that, you know where I'm going with this. We're going to talk about the Argentina's actual inflation little problem that you guys are going through. something very interesting that we learned in previous interviews and, well, doing a little bit of reading, was that due to the recent primaries, well, the dollar impact on that made that actually a lot of people started to use Bitcoin even more.
Yeah.
So how did Bitex exchange experience this little change that were in the transactions here in Argentina?
Yeah, obviously there was a spike in the use of the exchange in volume. Obviously on the other side, the cost of Bitcoin increased 50% against pesos in one day, which is bad because it's more expensive to buy a whole Bitcoin. I think people in countries like Argentina are always looking for ways to, let's say, save, make their value and savings away from the sovereign, let's say, risk, the risk of Argentina itself. And obviously, by definition, Argentinians are always looking for dollars. Like, I think it would be much more natural if we just dollarize the economy, because there will be some, let's erase this problem from the whole economy. But many people, and mostly young people, are starting to understand that the whole fiat, it's also a problem, because you have trade wars, you have manipulation, you have the whole interest rates that impact on your savings, and Bitcoin is kind of a safe haven for that. Trying to have an asset that it's not plausible of manipulation, or that that it's going to maintain the same way because math defines that. So and it's not just libertarians that are thinking this.
Are you a libertarian?
I don't say I'm a libertarian. I'm a business guy that wants to somehow make a good impact on society and try to, let's say, improve the whole economic situation in the region. And I think Bitcoin has that power.
Okay.
It's very liberating.
You're not a libertarian. You're just liberated.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of my favorite characters, it's San Martin, which is our father of Argentina, and one of the most celeb quotes is, "Make it free, make freedom. Nothing else matters." No.
Wow.
So and these guys liberate the whole Latin America. So it's
he was the one that inspired the Nothing Else Matters by Metallica, right?
I don't know, but it makes sense,
Okay.
So, but this guy, maybe it took the message of freedom all through Latin America, and I think Bitcoin can take the same, just liberating, starting to enable more commerce between countries, not depending on foreign currencies, allowing small merchants and companies to, doing more commerce and more having more commercial relationships, and lowering the access to financial services. It's one of the things Bitcoin can do pretty well. Obviously, you need to have at some point bridges. I think at this point, Bitex, it's a bridge between adoption. I think if we reach the point of hyper Bitcoinization, we will need to find out what else to do, but that's fine, it's part of our mission. In terms of Argentina, with all the crisis, it's, I mean, Bitcoin, it's a safe haven asset, not being able to be confiscated, and we see a spike on interest over the last few days.
Okay, I'm gonna play a game with you. Ready? I'm gonna give you two options. You're gonna pick one.
Okay.
Real quick. Okay. Mate or water?
Mate.
Stablecoin or dollarization?
Oh, stablecoin.
Okay. Now we know something about him. Why stablecoin?
No, I think that because you can have less the problem, stablecoin against what? That's a thing,
Okay. If they were to make a crypto peso, for example,
Yeah.
would you be up for that?
Actually, we developed a project for that with the central bank. So, I mean, when you have an economy like Argentina's, where you have 50% of the whole economy out of the books, there's a lot of lack of information about trade. And having a crypto peso, it's a very powerful tool, which if it is used wisely, can provide a lot of financial inclusion and opportunities for people outside the, let's say, the regular economy. The problem is that if we have Big Brother on top of us and they start using the crypto peso as a surveillance, method, that would be a problem. And that's, I think, the big problem with, central bank cryptocurrencies. If it's just a way of gathering information to better control people instead of providing new opportunities, we have a problem there. I think privacy, privacy and freedom should be, one of the two things that we need to take care of most. That's why, I mean, although it can be very powerful and liberating having a central cryptocurrency for a country, it can be also be very dangerous. That's why also going to in the private sector, having something like Libra, and coming from someone like Facebook, makes some noise. If these guys are not being very, let's say, they didn't take care of your information or even sell it, why wouldn't they sell all your transaction money information? That's why I think Bitcoin, with all these efforts, it makes more sense day after day.
Okay, let's finish this.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to tell me your most insane experience since you're in crypto. Go.
Okay. 2 years ago, we've been invited by the Financial Stability Board to be part of an event in Brasilia, which was organized by the Bank of International Settlement. You need to take into account that Arturo Martens at that time was the one leading the organization, this Mexican guy which was saying that Bitcoin was the worst thing in the world. We went there to Brazil to explain central banks what we were doing in Bitex, how this can be an alternative to SWIFT and the whole correspondent banking, their business.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting to have, being in front of a discussion between different central banks from around the world saying, we need to let this happen, and other banks say, no, we need to regulate and stop this type of businesses and opportunities. And well, I think that was one of the most insane and interesting situations, also because they start discussing about other blockchain technologies which were defined as scam, in relation to banks. Let's not depend on that, but
you won't say to the English
No.
speakers.
No,
they will figure it out. Okay, no, guys, I cannot tell you either way. Okay.
No, but basically there was a lot of misinformation about Bitcoin. I think all the negative news about I think the establishment did over the last couple of years did an effect. But I would say that over the last 2 years, things have changed a lot. We've been in the ecosystem for the last 6 years, and I think we changed 180 degrees. Yeah. The openness there is today in the ecosystem in terms of understanding the power of the technology, the applications. Yesterday, the guys from the Central Bank of Honduras came to the office, and we discussed about the possibility of Bitex providing a solution for the people in Honduras, because 50% of their GDP are remittances, and they are being rid off by remittances companies. okay, so how Bitcoin can play a social role, you know, in that stuff.
Wow.
They are listening, and I think that's very important. Usually, I mean, my view of the whole Bitcoin, it's much more from business and how we can provide solutions to make an impact on society, rather to become just an anarcho-capitalist, which is fantastic and very nice ideas, but very impractical. So how we can change the world by applying this technology, which is really powerful, with concrete solutions, you know.
Okay. One final question, yes or no?
Okay.
Okay. Do you think that there are people in this space that are turning into what they agree to end, narco-capitalists?
You mean by they are changing their values? Mm-hmm. You mean?
Yeah.
I think people change. I wouldn't say that people change. People evolve. So extremists become more extremist, and people who have an appetite for business and understand the technology will deepen on that. You know, I think it's in the nature of people. I didn't see anyone, let's say, how to say this, flopping, just changing 100 degrees and 180 degrees on their way of thinking. Only politicians do that. So,
okay.
and I think there are no politicians in the crypto scene, at least as of now. You know?
Okay, yeah, only a few I can think of.
Okay.
But we don't want to get into that.
No.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks for getting by.